question from Christian. I just turned 40. Stress levels are under control. I'm generally healthy, decent body comp, move pretty well, except one of my shoulders recently decided I needed some suprastratinus tendonitis in my life. Taking care of it with a physio. My main issue these days is fear of missing out, FOMO. I want to do all the things. Strength train, kickbox, grapple, dance, hike, mountain bike. Problem is, I don't recover like I did 10 years ago. Trust me, in 10 years from now, you'll be like, I don't recover like I did at 40. Life is, man. On top of that, with daily Tai Chi practice and some tonic work, which no longer feels optional at this point, my training time budget shrinks faster than my pants do around the holidays. I understand from your work that I should prioritize hypertrophy at this age of my journal. I've got the armor building formula ready to go as soon as my shoulder gives the green light. Say I attend 2 90-minute kickboxing or grappling sessions per week. These take a lot out of me. Would it be a good idea to limit myself to 2 weekly armor building formula sessions? It's an interesting idea. While keeping the same sequence, essentially drawing out the program. Or would I not be doing the program? What kind of advice do you have, and how would you program for someone my age who wants to make progress in hypertrophy and strength and still engage in physically demanding hobbies? Well, I'm not going to give you the entire book here, Christian, but in Armor Building Formula 2, I have 2 programs called Weekend Warrior programs, and I include the original Armor Building Complex, which was I now call the Running Back Complex, and then the next day is followed by presses. And I think that in your case, I would suggest you find 2 days in your week where you're not doing all this other stuff. And I want to talk about that too before I get too far. You know, I have this thing called the Inner Circle, and we have another group opening up soon. If you're interested, danjohninnercircle.com, or just go to the website or email us or whatever. And one of the things we do in the Inner Circle is we talk about long-term things, 2 decades, 2 years from now. One of the things I would sit down if I was sitting with you right now, Christian, is I'd say, what do you want? It's funny, I usually say I'm not a department store Santa Claus. I'm not trying to sell you, the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip or anything. What do you want? I mean, you want a mountain bike, you want to dance, hike, grapple, kickbox, you want to do a lot of things, and that's great. I have no issues with that. When I was around your age, I wanted to do discus, Highland Games, and weight pentathlon and Olympic lift. But the thing is, those 4 things all complemented them with an E. If I improved my Olympic lifting, my Highland Games got better. If my Highland Games got better, my discus seemed to go better. And if my discus was going well, other things would pick right up. So the first thing I'd like you to at least think about is, what do you want? And because you're going in a couple of directions, this might be a really important question for you. So what I would suggest is doing the Weekend Warrior protocol. Running back formula, 1 day, press the next day, and leave the other 5 days. I hope you have a recovery day in here somewhere. I hope you have a recovery day or 2 in there in the kickboxing stuff. But you can always adapt programs. The problem is, and I said this quite a bit last week in podcast 321, if you're going in all these directions, how do you know what's working and what's not working? It is what is known as systemic education. I talk about it in the Art of Coaching, available at Amazon. Systemic education, a good way to explain it is you have aphids in your plant in your house. So you go to the store and you talk to 10 different people at the plant place, and they give you 10 different chemicals to put in, and you put this one in, you put that one in, you put all 10 in there, and by God, if the aphids don't die, okay, they die. Good for you. But so does the plant. Well, which one of those killed the bugs? I don't know. So when you throw 10 things into the soil, you don't know what works. So one of the things I recommend for a lot of people is to back up a little bit, do one thing, give it 3 to 6 weeks to see if it's working, add another thing, 3 to 6 weeks to see if it's working. And by the way, sometimes when you add that new thing, it makes the other thing not work anymore. When I learned how to do hip thrust correctly from Brett Contreras, I was amazed in a few months how we didn't need a whole bunch of other exercises anymore. You'll have to come to my workshop to hear the whole story. No, I'm just kidding. It's when you have certain exercises and it fixes things, all of a sudden I was able to get, I don't need that, I don't need that, I don't need that, because the hip thrust had taken over. With the goblet squat got rid of 3 or 4 of my progressions that I used to teach the squat, because it was like, people just look at me like, is that what you mean? I'm like, okay, yeah. So just remember, when you add things, you gotta, there's addition by subtraction. When you add certain things, you take certain things away. Sometimes you're just left with an awful mess, or a dead plant in your living room because you put a bunch of junk in there. I hope that helps. Can you bodybuild and strength train at the same time? Yes, but you just got to be smart about it. So, Weekend Warrior, Armor Building Formula 2. And thank you for your question.